Let's dig into this article from The Atlantic called "Let's Declare Pandemic Amnesty." I haven't read it, but I can already tell what kind of bullshit it's going to peddle. So basically, this woman is going to admit that a lot of the things that vaccine zealots were peddling, such as the vaccine prevents the spread, and if you disagree, you need to be banned from every social media platform, they have to admit now that the science is not on their side, right? They have to admit that
Yeah.
now that's the case, even though there was a lot of data from Israel, even at the time, that really disagreed with their conclusion. Okay. So they want to claim to be pro science, so they can't they well, I guess they can actually. There's still people that do, but the more honest ones don't disagree with the current science, which is that yeah, when vaccines don't really do all the things that they claimed that they would do, and connecting the dots, a lot of the things that they wanted to do to people who refused to get the vaccine, maybe they were kind of unfair. Should you really have discriminated against them at the workplace and everywhere just because they refuse to get a vaccine that doesn't even stop the spread? No, clearly not. If it doesn't even stop the spread, it only affects them personally, right? Like it affects the severity of COVID if they happen to catch it.
Yep.
So clearly it wouldn't be fair because they're not impacting other people, except maybe, I don't know, insurance premiums at most, right? But we let people be fucking fat fucks every day, which hugely impacts insurance premiums. Nobody's talking about that. So you can't complain about insurance premiums if you're okay with obese people. And given the number of people who are totally co-signing Lizzo, you can't claim to be anti-obesity either, right? Yeah, so I don't want to hear you say anything about that because you're clearly not. Oh my God. So there's a section here where she says the people who got it right for whatever reason may want to gloat. Yeah, they want to gloat because you try to censor us. You stupid fucks. If you just said, well, I have a difference of opinion, and I'm not going to act strongly because I'm not sure about, what's going on. We'll just, leave it as a difference of opinion. I don't think that the people who got it right would feel so invested in gloating, would they?
Don't think so.
No. So does this
I
woman
mean,
even address the wrongs that they did to people?
not that's one of the major flaws of this article
Yeah.
is she clearly doesn't even either she's not aware of the various wrongs or she's choosing to omit them.
Well, I don't even have to go to conjecture. Let's just go to this recent New York court ruling where state workers in New York who were fired for not getting the vaccine, it's been ruled that they should be rehired and get all their back pay because what happened to them was wrong, according to a judge.
Yeah, that is a crazy thing about this article. Like
She doesn't talk
there's
about
no
something
men,
like that at all.
there's no mention of people getting fired. There's no mention of censorship.
Yeah, I'm not.
Uh,
I'm not making this stuff up. It's not a conspiracy theory. This is a New York court case, which ruled in their favor. They were fired on shaky grounds, on shaky reasoning. They were unfairly discriminated against, and therefore they deserve to be rehired and they deserve back pay because that's what you deserve when you're unfairly fired. The end. That is the conclusion. And so just saying if it wasn't it was just about some difference of opinion like, "Oh, if
uh,
you were at a bar and you said Tom Brady threw 40 touchdowns last year and I said he threw 45 and it happens that I'm right, you might be able to say, "Hey, why are you gloating? Why are you like gloating about this?" Just like, "Okay, you're right. Let's move on." Okay, that's fine because it didn't affect anybody. It didn't impact anybody's life. I'm right, you're wrong. We can just move on. No, this is not that sort of situation. You discriminate against people, it impacted people's lives. You need to be called out on it, if not just for the satisfaction of the people who are in the right, but also for you to learn a lesson that this is not something you should be doing in the future. And how are you going to learn a lesson if we just sort of say, oh, yeah, whatever, bygones be bygones? It's just hey, it was just a difference of opinion at the time.
I mean, the I don't know what you call this in the introduction for the article. It says we need to forgive one another for what we did and said when we were in the dark about COVID. And it's almost like, somebody punched somebody else in the face And then now it's like, okay, now we have to apologize
No,
to each other.
I don't accept that at all. I don't fucking for 1 second accept that. I don't accept that. It's fine that you were in the dark. It's fine that now you say, well, we didn't have all the information or the information wasn't accurate. But that's not what you were fucking saying at the time. You were saying the science is settled, right?
Yep.
Where did that phrase come from? It came from you guys at that
Yep.
time and around 2020. Science is settled is a thing that you guys were saying. You were not saying we're in a person saying we're in the dark would say something like, well, I think this way, you think that way. It's not clear which one's correct. So let's just have an even-handed way of going about making policy. Considering that neither of us is for sure correct. That's not what they did. They banned you, they censored you, they fired you.
Yeah.
They don't
Look
deserve
at
that
the
benefit of the doubt.
look at some of the examples she chooses to focus on in this article. Another example, when the vaccines came out, we lacked definitive data on the relative efficacies of the Johnson & Johnson shot versus the mRNA options from Pfizer and Moderna. The mRNA vaccines have won out. But at the time, many people in public health were either neutral or expressed a J&J preference. This misstep wasn't nefarious. It was the result of uncertainty. As if, as far as I'm aware, this wasn't really any of the major
And
issues
here's the
that
other thing
people.
that's really insulting to me. She writes, on every topic, someone was eventually proved right and some was proved wrong. In some instances, the right people were right for the wrong reasons. In other instances, they had a prescient understanding of the available. No, bullshit. That's you still trying to prove that, well, I was wrong, but I was still sort of right. No, fuck you. Wrong is wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong, period. And worse yet, you behaved in a way that was illiberal and unfair to other citizens of this country. So, yes, you deserve to be called out on that. Okay? You don't get to do things like intern the Japanese during World War II and just say, oh, well, at the time, I sort of thought that maybe they would be agitators for the nation of Japan. So it's cool, right? What? No. So you were wrong. You need to be called out on it. You know? It's not just being wrong about recipes or like sports trivia. It's you being wrong and then oppressing people. So yeah, we're not going to
So,
forget. We're not going to stop talking about it. You don't deserve a pass. You don't deserve amnesty, which is specifically what this article is calling for.
right above that paragraph, she's basically, give an example of what people did wrong on the other side, which is remember when the public health community had to spend a lot of time and resources urging Americans not to inject themselves with bleach? That was bad. Misinformation was and remains a huge problem. I think that is getting massively blown out of proportion. I mean,
It doesn't even fucking matter though.
who was even thinking of injecting themselves with bleach? And if anything, it would be like the MAGA side, right?
It doesn't
So
even
she'd
fucking
say,
matter. It doesn't even fucking matter though. It's not relevant to this discussion. This discussion is you had incorrect information and you believed in it so fervently that you felt okay to oppress a certain amount of the population. The whole convincing people not to inject themselves with bleach has nothing to do with oppression, right? If those people wanted to inject themselves with bleach, that would be just their dumbasses and they freely did it. That has nothing to do with you oppressing people.
well, she's trying to say this is an example of what essentially, where the right was wrong,
Even if they're
or
wrong,
where.
even if they're wrong, they weren't trying to oppress people though.
Right, right, right.
They were telling people, "Hey, this is an awesome idea." And even though I don't think they did this, but let's say they did for the sake of argument, this is a great idea. Inject yourself with bleach. They were not oppressing anybody. Those people, if they're stupid enough to do it, it's still their choice, right? But when you fire a bunch of New York workers, it was no longer their choice. It was you imposing your will on them based on faulty information, based on faulty assumptions.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
totally a
anyways,
different situation.
yeah. Anyways, what I'm saying is that she chose really dumb examples.
She did because it has nothing, it's not parallel at all. Even though the right was wrong about that entirely, they weren't wrong about it in a way that suggested that people on the left need to be oppressed
Yep.
or fired or anything like that. That nobody was suggesting that. They're just suggesting that low IQ people, if they believe that bleach would help them, should inject themselves with bleach. Now, maybe that would result in people getting hurt, but only in stupid, right wingers getting hurt, right? Because they believe this
Exactly.
stupid thing. It's like, well, that's on them then. If they're stupid and they want to believe a stupid thing, that's on them, right? Isn't that part of their freedom? My body, my choice. Is their body? They can inject it with bleach all they want and die. Correct? Is that not in line with what the left, like with the philosophy of the left? It's their body, their choice. Inject it with bleach. Then they're not telling you to inject it with bleach. They're not telling you can't work unless you inject your body with bleach, are they? No. So it's not parallel at all. It's a red herring. It's just an argument that's indicative of the IQ of people who work at the Atlantic. That's all. And I don't even think they're stupid. I actually think they're not stupid. They're actually intelligent. It's worse than stupidity. They're fundamentally trying to trick you. They're fundamentally trying to lead you astray. They're not stupid. They're manipulative, which is worse. Stupid people, it's whatever. It's like, it's like a short person. They just can't reach the top shelf, right? Short person can't reach the top shelf. Can't blame them. A tall person who can reach the top shelf, well, maybe you should reach the top shelf and get something from me if I need it, right? But they're like the tall person who can reach the top shelf, but they purposely push the items back or something. I don't know. This analogy is like going off the rails, but it's basically they are abusing their intelligence or their power to do bad things. That's what's going on. Stupid people are not trying to abuse anything. They're just stupid. So yeah, this woman's not stupid. This woman is trying to manipulate you into just forgetting all the shit they did.
Right.
So no, don't keep calling them out on it. And there's gonna be more. There's gonna be so much more.
Yeah, maybe it's just Elon buying Twitter might have triggered something.
Yeah, they just have to talk about it now because Elon bought Twitter. That's what Tim speculated on, but I tend to believe that's close to the truth.